All right. Hello, everyone. This is David Bitton, CEO here at PracticePanther. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today and let you know to please send us any questions you have in the chat, and we will do our very best to cover all of them at the end. If we don't have time, we will email you back afterwards with an answer. And you can also click on this webinar video to pause at any time and then click on it again to resume it. We will be recording the webinar, so you will receive an email afterwards to review it, and you will also be able to replay it as soon as it ends. And we are very excited to have Carol-Lynn Grow with us today on the phone. I actually met Carol-Lynn about 2 years ago, I think, at a convention. I saw her everywhere. Every convention I went to, they were there. LawToolBox was there. I saw the product and I was like, wow, this is so far ahead of its time. It's incredible. What an amazing tool. And now we are so excited to finally have partnered up and build an integration together that I am so excited to share with you. So Carol-Lynn, I want to thank you so much for being here with us today.
So excited to be here, and we just think that this opportunity to provide court rules calendaring with PracticePanther is going to be awesome, and just super excited about all this.
Amazing. Thank you. And I know a lot of people already know what LawToolBox is, but for those that don't, tell us a bit about the company, how you guys got started, and a little bit about LawToolBox.
Sure. So LawToolBox is a rules-based calendaring solution born in the cloud. So right out of the gate, we looked at the market and early days determined that, you know what, court rules change all the time, and attorneys need a singular, central place to go and understand what their deadlines are and whether those deadlines have changed. And so we're super excited to be providing our rule sets. So that is for state and federal courts and any other type of rule set that attorneys need to manage their deadlines. We provide a systematic system with trigger dates that generate deadlines to calculate those dates.
Amazing, amazing. And we'll cover more of that soon. So, but first, take us through the agenda for today.
Alrighty, so we're going to start out by talking about what are Panther rules and how exactly will that help my firm, and working through the idea of how does that work specifically in the integration with PracticePanther, what does it cost, and of course that all important part of how can I try it out, how do I get started, I want to learn more, and we'll talk you through that process.
Awesome. And walk us through this first one. I know that missed deadlines, from what it seems like, are the #1 cause for malpractice claims, correct?
Absolutely. So the most likely reason that an attorney is not going to be able to continue to do what they love to do is because potentially they've missed a deadline, whether that's not knowing about it, not remembering it, not calculating it correctly, or not having proper backup. It is the absolute #1 cause for a malpractice claim. So it's front and center, and we're excited to be part of the solution to alleviate that worry for attorneys and our customers.
Wow, I know that you've pulled up a lot of stats over this. So walk us through these stats.
Sure. So interestingly, what you can see here is that it's not the solos that are really having the highest risk factor of missing a deadline, because really it's them singularly trying to maintain that all of the checks and balances to know that they've got their deadlines covered. It's that 2 to 5 person firm, and even that 6 to 10 person firm, where they're not quite big enough that they have identified a lot of different systematic ways and redundancies, but they are needing to collaborate and cooperate and centralize and keep track of things. So we really see that 2 to 10 person firm as the folks that are the most likely to miss a deadline. And interestingly, lawyers on average have a 17% chance every year of potentially being sued for malpractice. So this isn't a small worry.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. And a lot of the claims are coming against PI firms, from what I understand.
Yes, they are. You do see it a lot in the PI, and we've got a couple other categories here listed up on the screen. But really, every attorney is needing to come up with a repeatable, systematic, redundant way to track their deadlines, and really it applies to any kind of, even the largest, most sophisticated firms are really focused on how do we make sure that we're not the ones that mess up the case because they forgot that particular date and their client's not happy about it.
Right, correct. So for those listening, 17% of you could be at risk for getting a malpractice claim because of missing deadlines. So Carol-Lynn, walk us through this one of the 5 questions that everyone listening should be asking themselves right now.
So when thinking about our rules-based calendaring, repeatable deadlines that can be instantly generated, something that apply or that would benefit a firm, these 5 questions are what we ask our customers or folks that are thinking about it. First, are you manually generating your deadlines? Perhaps you're using an Excel spreadsheet. Perhaps you're using a Word document or some sort of a checklist, but there's a fair amount of manual calculating going on. Secondly, perhaps you have some sort of a system. An Excel spreadsheet is a little bit more automated. But how are you getting those deadlines into all of the different attorneys' calendars? Are you sending a calendar invite, whether that's into whatever type of calendar you're using? Are you sending those one at a time and inviting the various people involved in that case? How do you find out that the courts have changed their rules? That's never an easy question for any firm, any size. And this is a really interesting question. And before I move on to number 4, when we talk to lawyers all over the country, what we find is that far over 70% are doing it by hand, manually entering into Outlook, and don't have a systematic approach. 70% need help on all 3 of those, and of course, almost everybody is needing help on one of those 3. The 4th one is the really exciting thing, and it's the piece where potentially the cost of using our system can almost be covered by the potential discounts in malpractice. So why do insurance companies give malpractice discounts?
So I want to pause you there because you broke up for just a second. Did you say that some malpractice insurance companies will actually give you a discount that will help pay the cost of LawToolBox off? Is that what you were mentioning?
Well, not exactly. Do they pay off the specific cost of our program? But here's how it works. Insurance companies know that the number 1 cause of malpractice is missing a deadline, whether it's not understanding the rules or not calculating them. So they know that it has to do with also a redundant system that's electronic, where they have attorneys that can back up for other attorneys on making sure that they meet those deadlines. So all insurance companies give discounts to law firms that have an electronic system for reminding themselves of deadlines. And with LawToolBox combined with PracticePanther, you are in a position to qualify for the maximum discount that any of the malpractice insurance companies out there are going to provide for insurance discounts.
So an attorney, once they get LawToolBox and PantherRules, they should call their malpractice insurance company and say, we got this new system, we have this new process in place, we should be not having missed deadlines anymore. What is the highest discount you can give me? Is that what you recommend?
They'll know what they've claimed in their insurance form. So the idea is that a law firm may have claimed that they have 2 or 3 redundant systems for reminding themselves of deadlines, and that they're doing it electronically all the time. The real proof in the pudding is, are they really doing that? So potentially they can get a higher discount in their malpractice, or potentially they're actually living up to what they stated in their malpractice form when they applied for their insurance.
Wow, got it. Okay. And so what's number 5 exactly? When an attorney leaves a case, what happens exactly?
So one of the challenges that law firms face is calendar clutter. That has to do with getting deadlines you don't need or having deadlines on attorneys' calendars after they've left, they're no longer involved in that case, it's been reassigned. So a systematic way to get the deadlines just to the attorneys and the staff that are involved in that case, and with a single click, pull one attorney in, take another attorney out, keeps deadlines clear and consistent and accurate in calendars, so people aren't seeing dates for cases that have resolved that don't apply, or dates for cases that are no longer working, so that they can drill in and see the ones that really matter.
Got it. Okay. So I'm excited to share with you the next slide on PantherRules. So the newest integration to PracticePanther, where you never miss a deadline. Again, this is all part of our automation integrations to help automate your firm so you can get more done in less time and not have to worry about missing deadlines again. So I'm going to kind of take you through a few of the quick things of how we integrate with LawToolBox. So it automatically will calculate deadlines for you, and we're going to take you through the software in just a minute. And it can also sync all these deadlines to your calendar in Gmail, Outlook, Exchange, whatever program you're using. PracticePanther will sync all the deadlines and calendar events to whatever calendar you use. So I'll give you a quick little screenshot, a little sneak peek. So why should you use it? Obviously, to not miss deadlines, don't get any more malpractice suits, no bar complaints, and reduce your risk of insurance claims. It's all about protecting yourself, protecting your license, and not losing any money, time, headaches, and you could actually finally sleep at night. So Carol-Lynn, I'm not so familiar with how life is before, so kind of walk us through how typical attorneys do this before using PracticePanther or LawToolBox.
So before, they're typically looking up the deadlines one at a time, or looking for checklists and then double checking all the extra deadlines that didn't make it on the checklist. And then they're calculating those dates, oftentimes by hand or typing in a plus 10 days, plus 11 days. Of course, that doesn't work perfectly when you're adding mail rule and all those types of dates, because you need to add 3 days and include the court holidays and double check that you skipped over Veterans Day for certain types of dates. So they're calculating their deadlines by hand. Once they've got that part done, because that's a chore, then they face the whole idea of getting those deadlines into the calendar. So they're sending out individual calendar invites into whatever calendar they have. And then finally, they're looking for notices and websites to track, has the courts changed the rules? This happened December 1. There was a gigantic rule change less than a year ago, where every single pending matter in the United States in federal court had shortened deadlines based on a mail rule change for 1/3 of all deadlines, every case in the United States that was in federal court. And our system tracked that deadline and automatically updates. So beforehand, there's a lot of worry and a lot of manual work going on. And there's a lot of trust that the attorneys are going to be relying potentially on their paralegals to really, or their legal assistants or associates to really be diligent. So it's stressful for everybody.
Wow, incredible. Okay, I didn't know all that. So we'll take you kind of a quick tour of how it works. So very simple. We made it really, really simple. 3 simple steps. Step 1, select your jurisdiction. Step 2, add your court rule. And step 3, get your deadlines. And then the cool part, once you have all your deadlines, you could actually schedule deadline reminders all through PracticePanther. So how it works is you have a few ways to schedule reminders. Number 1, every morning when you wake up, you get a daily agenda at 6 a.m. showing you all the upcoming events, meetings, appointments, and deadlines for the day. You can schedule email reminders for you and your staff, pop-up reminders in the software, and even SMS text message reminders for you, your paralegal, or anyone. So you will never miss another deadline again. That's the most important thing to us. And I guess we can show this slide off. This is an example. And you have 3 options for reminders, but I will take you into the software right now, I believe. And let's go into it. And I'm going to pull up the screen here. So when you're in PracticePanther, all you need to do is click your name on the top right and click on settings. And on the bottom left, under integrations, you will see it says court rules, which might be called PantherRules once we finalize it. So when you come here, you have the nice logo and everything and all the checklists. But the main thing you can do is either sign up or learn more. If you learn more, it will take you to our website where you can learn more information. And if you click sign up, it takes you to this sign up form, really easy. All your details should be filled in automatically from PracticePanther. And all you need to do is select a pricing plan and subscription. We will cover the pricing in a slide in just a minute. There is a sliding scale, so the bigger your firm is, the more affordable it becomes for you. And generally, it starts off at $39 a month for if you're a solo practitioner, only one person in the firm. 6-month minimum is charged monthly, or you can go annually and save some money. I believe that comes at $29 a month, and it includes up to 20 court rule sets. Now, all you need to do is click send details to LawToolBox, and it will automatically sign you up for the free 7-day trial. And LawToolbox will call you as the trial is expiring to collect payment, to activate your account. So you can test it out, play with it, schedule deadlines and rules. And when it comes to an end, they will contact you so you can continue using it. Now, what happens once you click send details? So I'll pull up another screen now to show you. Let's see here. So your settings page will change to this. Your subscription is currently in the free trial. You can do up to 5 court rule calculations during the free trial. If you have any questions, you could always contact us or LawToolBox with this information, and they give you your ID and subscription. Now, very simple. You have court rule sets. All you need to do is select one. Let's say I'm in Florida, and I want to select this rule set, and I click add. And that's it. It added my court rule set. So now what can I do? I can hop on over to my calendar. I can click court rule on the top right to add a new court rule. It will load up. I can select my matter, let's say this one, and my trigger set. So I'm going to select the California trigger set. The trigger will be, let's say, date action commenced, date the complaint was filed. And let's say the date was filed, it was today. So I'll just do today for easiness, and I'll click get deadlines. And now it is getting the live deadlines from LawToolBox that are accurate and updated. And as you can see, these are all the deadlines that automatically calculates weekends, holidays, business days, everything is calculated for you. So instead of doing all this, which could take, let's say there's 8 here, and it could take you 5 minutes each, you just save 30, 40 minutes easily in one click. You could assign it to multiple people in the firm. You could even add a tag, and you can schedule up to 7 reminders like pop-up, email, and the text message reminder. So you will never, ever forget about any of these deadlines again. And when you're ready, you click create. That's it. So in a few seconds, I think it took us, and I was going slow. It created all of these court rules automatically. It's amazing. Carol-Lynn, what you've built is amazing.
Well, I love the integration and all of those text message options and emails. That's really going to save a lot of worry for attorneys and staff out there.
Yep. And just so you can see, just to go one step further, I can look at the month view or the week view, and I'll see all the deadlines automatically here. I can go into this client or into their matter, and I will see it there as well. I can even create court rules from inside the client or matter. I don't need to go to the calendar. So there's a lot you can do with it. It is amazing what you can do with this integration. We are super excited. And for those watching, go to the settings page right now and go test it out. So Carol-Lynn, walk us through the pricing of this.
Sure. So as you can see, as Dave pointed out, it does go down in price. If we look kind of to the right side of the screen where we've got the annual, if you prepay annually, it ranges from $29 to $19 for anybody that's not a solo. So if you have 2 to 10 PracticePanther users in your firm, then the cost would be $29 per person in addition to your subscription to PracticePanther. So that's basically how the pricing works.
Awesome. Extremely affordable. And there's a lot that is included for this price that we're going to cover in a minute. But as we were talking about before, how does it pay for itself? So we're not even taking into account the insurance discount you mentioned before. This is just a quick calculation I honestly put together myself just based on speaking to attorneys and speaking to you. So the typical attorney in the US is charging an average of $250 an hour. How many deadlines are they calculating a month? Around $50 a month, and probably more just because every deadline was 7 deadlines right there. How many minutes does it take to find court rules? Once again, I put a super low, pessimistic, conservative number, assuming you are extremely fast at doing this. Let's say it takes you 5 minutes per deadline to find it. And I put a super low number also. It takes you, let's say, only 1 minute to actually schedule the reminders on all your calendars and invite everyone to it so you don't forget about it. So in total, let's say it's 6 minutes per deadline times 50 deadlines a month, which is about 300 minutes a month, which is about 5 hours a month. It's a low number, in my opinion, just scheduling deadlines. But you could plug in your own numbers to this and see how it makes sense. So if you are charging $250 an hour and it's taking you about 5 hours a month, that's $250 times 5, which is about $1,250 a month that you are losing in billable time that you could be spending billing your clients and working. And this is something that we see across the board with a lot of attorneys. They always complain they're spending too much time doing back-end admin work. And this is just one of the other things that's taking up their time. So what is the actual, so $1,250 a month, this is supposed to have a zero at the end, times 12 months, it is costing you about $15,000 every single year in lost billable time. The yearly cost of PantherRules for the one user going annually, if you have more than 2 users, is only $348. So if you're saving $15,000 minus the cost of $348, it's an average of $14,652 total savings in profit. I mean, when you just see that anchor there, it's incredible how much time and money can be saved, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Carol-Lynn, walk us through for $348 a year, what is included with their subscription of Law Toolbox and PantherRules?
Alrighty. So what's included? We'll start on the bottom part of the screen. So 20 rule sets. You may cover a couple of states, and you may have, cases at the state court, at the federal court level. Doesn't matter how many cases you have, or, if you've got lots of reminders that you're using PracticePanther to set up for your matters. It's just that one flat rate. And of course, the safety net of having another set of eyes watching for rule changes for your cases and notifying and updating those deadlines is also included in the system. And potentially, you may have a specialty type of a rule set that is the type of a rule set that you may not expect us to provide, but give it a try, because as long as there's some other types of attorneys that are doing that same type of specialty, potentially reach out and we can even incorporate those types of rule sets. Free trials. So you've got to have a chance, of course, to get a sense of what the system can do for you. So it includes 5 court rule calculations. That could be 5 different rule sets. It could be 2 or 3 rule sets where you're plugging in a trial date or a complaint or a summary judgment, this or that motion or hearing. And for free, you can go download the deadline. So you get a sense not just of how do these deadlines appear in my calendar within PracticePanther, but how do they look in Outlook, or how do they look in Google? But also, what do these SMS texts look like? And then, of course, the attorney is going to look at it and say, I want to understand what deadlines are getting generated, how simple and easy to understand the descriptions for those deadlines are. So you'll get a great sense and opportunity to try before you buy by downloading some deadlines. So no reason not to get started. The way the process works is, as Dave pointed out, you just click on it to activate. That gives you a week free trial with up to 4 court rule calculations, and then we'll reach out to check in and collect your payment information, and it's easy as that. Easy,
very easy. Thank you so much for making it so easy for everyone as well. So I think that the next slide is the last one. I think my personal favorite. What else is included? peace of mind. I love this slide. I don't know why, it's just so simple. So that wraps it up for us. I'm going to put your contact information on the screen. And thank you so much again for giving this quick update to everyone. We are going to open it up for questions. So please start sending your questions in. And for everyone tuning in right now, pull up the main webinar screen. And on the bottom right, you will see the box to send us a message. If we are not going to have time to get to all your questions, because I believe we have about 6 minutes left, and I see a few questions here, I promise you, we will email you back within 24 hours. And this webinar was recorded, so we will email it to you afterwards. And I believe when it finishes, you will have an option to replay it right away. All right, so let's get to the first question. Comes from Bradley. Okay, what if a rule doesn't exist? Can I request one? Good question. Carol-Lynn?
So absolutely, you can request a rule set. We have some forms that you can fill in to identify what rule sets you need. And potentially, as long as it's something that we see some solid demand for in the market, it may not cost you anything additional. If it's something that's really more unique to your business, still ask for it, because even if there is potentially an additional cost, it will probably pay out in dividends for automation and systematizing how you do things.
Correct. And I just want to bring up one thing while that question was asked. So on our support forum, support.practicepanther.com, you can type in Law Toolbox or Court Rules or any of the keywords, and you will see the integration tutorial, how it works, and the FAQ. So I believe we have this question here where here's the forms Carol-Lynn is mentioning. You can click on any of these, and it will take you to a form to actually request a trigger date or a rule set if it doesn't exist right now. Okay, excellent question. Thank you. Let's go to the next one from Amanda. Do the rules and deadlines ever change in the courts? And if so, will they automatically change in PracticePanther? Carol-Lynn?
So absolutely, the rules change, and that's why we make a living, because we track those rule changes. And when they show up, or when the courts post them, then we update our calculations and notify you via PracticePanther that you have some cases that have been affected by a rule change, and we provide you with a single click to go and apply those rule changes so that your deadlines are automatically reflecting any changes in when your deadlines may need to be calendared.
Awesome. Very easy and seamless. Okay, and the next question I believe you may have answered, but let's answer it anyways. Natalie asked, what happens if a deadline falls on a weekend or a holiday? Do you take into account local and national holidays?
Great question. So there's so much to say on this topic, and this is really where the science of rules-based calendaring comes into play, because not only do we take into account the different rule sets based on what state or court that particular matter applies to, but also there are rules that determine if a deadline falls on a weekend, do I roll forward to Monday or do I roll backward to Friday? And certain deadlines that when they land on the weekend, then you jump to the next business day, which might be, if it's Veterans Day, it might be Tuesday, and then you add a certain number of days based on how that particular pleading was filed. So you'll see little messages when you're submitting a trigger date where you can stipulate that this particular pleading was faxed or e-filed or mailed, so that we can do all that fancy calculating and then roll your deadline forward or backward to the next business day based on that particular deadline.
Amazing, very easy. Okay, I think that's all the time we may have. Let's just do one last question. This one comes from Greg. Okay, I'm not sure this answer, so you'll have to help me on this one. Do you handle mail rule deadlines? And so I'll ask another question. What are mail rule deadlines?
Okay, so I touched on that on the earlier questions, that the mail rule deadlines are the types of deadlines where you can get extra time based on whether something's served by mail and different amounts of time if it's served by email or e-fax or hand delivery. So absolutely, we automate all of that and take that into account and provide you with toggles or checkboxes that you select when you're generating your deadlines to reflect those.
Awesome. Okay. Wow. You guys do it all. Okay. So that is all the time that we have. I do see a few more questions. So I promise we will email you the answers afterwards. And if you have any more questions after this ends, like right now, just feel free to email myself or Carol-Lynn anytime. And our emails are here up on the screen. And once again, we want to thank everyone for joining us today. The webinar was recorded. We will email it to you. And Carol-Lynn, one last time, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dave. Great to see everybody. Hope to hear from you soon.
Awesome. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a good one.